Shemai Brandy, hi, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Caitlin Anwin for anyone who's new here, and let's get back into building in Planet Zoo. And I'm continuing in the Wetlands Safari Park today for a special Pride themed habitat build. Because it is Pride Month, I wanted to celebrate just like I did last year. Last year I did a Pride float for the bonobo monkeys. So if you want to check that out, I will link that in the description or in the iCards if you want to check out some more Pride builds. And this time I'm going to do Asian Small-Clawed Otter Habitat to go in with the wetlands theme. I picked the Asian Small-Clawed Otter because of the Zoopedia fact. Asian Small-Clawed Otters are monogamous and mate for life. I thought to go with like the whole love theme for Pride. I thought it was really cute that the Asian Small-Clawed Otters mate for life. So I put an even amount of the otter's gender in the habitat. So I have either 4 or 5 females and 4 or 5 males, so they can all pair off, and that would be really cute. I did want to do an underwater tunnel to go with the water theme, and I knew that I wanted to light it up with rainbow colours. So I'm going to start with the underwater tunnel. If you want to know more about how to create your own underwater tunnels, I do have a short explaining quickly how to do it, and if you want a more in-depth description on how I do my underwater tunnels, I did explain it fully in the California sea lion habitat. And with underwater tunnels, you want to make sure that you do all of your terraforming for the pool of water, body of water, before you leave the path in the underwater path. So you're good with like experimenting and putting it in and finding where you want to place the path down, but I find it easier to then undo and get rid of the path while I play around with the terraforming and the water. Because once you have that path in and you continue to do other things, you can't undo the path. It can get really tricky to then terraform under the water because the water stops you from terraforming. And if you remove the water with the path in, the water won't go back in. So make sure that you're like super happy with your terraforming before you leave your underwater path in. Now for this overhead area, over the water area, the ground, never really know what to call it. I knew I wanted to do a nice seating area for the guests and an animal talk for the Asian Small-Clawed Otter, but I actually decided to leave this part and I'm going to do a separate video for the above ground education area for this habitat, and I'm going to focus more on the underwater area and the guests' Pride experience. So I was finally happy with my terraforming in the underwater section, and I'm placing the paths down by aligning to grid, so it's a nice square straight path to build the tunnel over. And I was thinking about how to cover the path to make it look a little bit more interesting and bright and cheerful. I actually learned this from RuPaul's Drag Race, but I know it used to be more of a thing when the LGBTQIA plus community wasn't as accepted in the world. And that is a friend of Dorothy. And a friend of Dorothy was like a slang term for the LGBT community, and it does actually come from the Wizard of Oz, and it was basically supposed to be a term for showing that you were part of the community, saying that you are a friend of Dorothy, or asking whether you're a friend of Dorothy was like a secret way to say that you were part of the community without facing backlash. So that's why I've created the yellow brick road for the pathway, to kind of have a hint to the Wizard of Oz and the friend of Dorothy term. And for the cover, I wanted to use these classic arbors, and I've used the neon lights from the Europe pack to create arches over the glass domes in the rainbow colours. So I've gone with the traditional rainbow for the lights with Roy G. Biv. So I've gone with 7 colours instead of the 6 on the LGBT pride flag. But that's just for the colours over the dome. And I also created a smaller arch of lights then to go on the inside as well, so the guests can experience the lights on the inside as they're walking through the underwater path, and on the outside so we can kind of see it through the water too, because I wanted it to be really bright and colourful, because that's like kind of a part of Pride. Yes, it's a celebration and a time to learn about this community as well, and obviously be proud of who you are, which I think, or I hope I encourage that and show that in my channel as well. Of course, the comment section is always a safe space. Anyone in the LGBTQIA plus community, or just someone who doesn't really feel like they fit in, because I know for sure I did not fit in any group situation really. School, college, university, I did not fit in. So I hope I make this feel, this space, this community feel safe to like kind of share your own experiences or feel like you fit in some way. So I'm just trying to seal off the entrance to the underwater tunnel and connect it to the terrain so it doesn't look like there's any gaps between the terrain and the glass tunnel. We don't want our guests drowning. Even though they technically can't, I still want it to feel like it is sealed from the rest of the water. And I got the path so smooth except for that one edge there, which was super frustrating. So I thought to like hide the glitchy path, thought I'd put some education boards at the end, and it's also the end of the underwater path, so that's why I've got like the rainbow at the end and the education at the end. I thought that'd be really cute. It's at the end of the yellow brick road and there's like a lovely rainbow somewhere over the rainbow. Get it? I don't know, lots of rainbows in this. And to kind of cover some of the iffy terraforming around the underwater path, I wanted to create some flower beds for pride flags. And I thought it'd be really nice to create like a pride garden around this area. Make it nice and open air, colourful and floral, like a nice pride garden. So I'm using the classic flowers because they are flexi colour, and creating different pride flags to go around the path. And for the first row I wanted to show LGBT. The first flag is the lesbian pride flag, and then the second is the gay man pride flag. And I didn't get the exact colour shades for the flowers. I've just been kind of trying to colour match myself with the flexi colour. And then the next one is the bisexual pride flag. And to get the rows even, because I started off with 7 rows to go for the lesbian and gay man pride flag, I needed 7 rows of colour. And because I wanted all of the flags to be the same size, the transgender pride flag was a little bit trickier because then it didn't have the 7 rows. But I recently got into cross stitching, and I actually used the cross stitching technique of finding the center and working out from there to make sure that I had even spaces for the rows of flowers. The last flag next to the transgender pride flag is the pansexual pride flag. I actually created this little cat. Oh, I can never get my finger right. There. This little cat here, I might take an image and show you a closer up, but I really wanted my own pride flag for Pride Month. I couldn't find anything that was like close enough for my own personality with the ace flag on it. So I created my own little cross stitch, and I've also done myself a dream catcher with the ace colours around it too. Now this flag I wasn't really sure whether I would be able to create nicely with the flowers, but I think I did an okay job with creating this one. And this flag is the Intersex pride flag. I wanted to include less common pride flags as well as the acronym pride flags, I guess. And you may be seeing the grey and purple flag in this one and think, oh, Caitlin, are you doing an ace flag? No, I'm not actually including the asexual pride flag, but I thought I would include the demisexual pride flag because I wanted to include less known, less common flags to make sure that I'm including more people in this pride themed build. I wanted it to feel like a welcoming, inclusive experience, not just have the rainbow. Like this one is the Bigender pride flag, and I think the colors are just so beautiful in that one. I really loved creating that one. And the next flag I created was the non-binary pride flag, and then this one is the Genderqueer pride flag, which is also very pretty. But of course I still wanted to include the LGBT pride flag as well with the 6 rainbow colours. And I really like the rainbow pride flag, so I thought to cover the gaps in the rest of the terrain under the ground then along the rest of the path, I would just continue with the rainbow flowers. Oh, and I had a little gap here for another pride flag, so I decided to include one more. It's not quite an even number, but I had a little gap there. And my last pride flag is a polysexual pride flag. I didn't want people to feel left out. I feel like I should have done every single flag now because I feel like I am leaving someone out, and I'm sorry if I missed your flag. If I did, let me know in the comments and I will create another flag and I'll put it up on the Steam workshop for you because I feel like I don't want to miss anyone out. And I wanted the path to feel covered but not completely covered, so I used the fabric draping over the gap between the flowers and recolored those in the classic rainbow Roy G. Biv colours. I've also haven't long finished watching Heartstopper on Netflix, and I've got to say I was immediately hooked on that program. I think it was just amazing. It was absolutely adorable. I loved it. Have you seen Heartstopper? I absolutely loved it. My favourite character was Nick. And I also did realise recently that the original writer of Heartstopper, the creator of Heartstopper, Alice Oseman, does identify as asexual and also identifies as aromantic as well, so I thought that was just amazing, and no wonder I kind of fit so well with like the romance of it all. I love the graphics of it, like the little hearts that go past when you can tell that something's getting a little bit romantic. I loved it. And I've also created a sign for the guests outside of the first rainbow tunnel, and of course I will link the blueprint in the description of this video as well. I chose to write follow the yellow brick road because obviously if they do follow the yellow brick road they will get underground and under the water to watch the otters swim around, and it's of course a hint towards the Wizard of Oz and Friend of Dorothy theme as well. And for the rest of the underwater part, I wanted to keep it rainbow and colourful, and the first thing I thought of was a coral reef because coral is obviously very colourful and very bright, so I could add lots of colour into the build, but it also belongs under the water, so it fits nicely in with that. And I downloaded these coral reef blueprints off the Steam workshop as well, obviously linking in the description. But I picked lots of different ones for just this little area here because as much as I wanted to add in lots of colour, I didn't want to add in too many objects. My thought process with this coral reef was to add in some conservation sort of themes. So I've only decorated a small section of the underwater part with the coral reef to kind of signify that it is slowly getting smaller because the corals are slowly dying off. So there's only a small section of area with the bright, colourful coral, and then on the other side of the tunnel there's going to be a very small amount and less colour and less vibrancy on that area. So for this side I just have a very small little section of the coral. There's a lot less of a variation in the coral, and I've also recolored them to be a lot darker and less vibrant. So I've pulled the colour down into the darker section and lightened it, so it's kind of looks like it's slowly diminishing, slowly dying off. It's not as vibrant and full of life as the other side. To give a little bit of the guests a little bit of education as well as a fun experience with all of the bright colours and pride themes. I don't want to leave this off on such a sad note with like the coral reefs and stuff, but it is true, it is happening. But if you're comfortable, let me know in the comments whether I included your pride flag, and if you want to say which one it was, you are safe to do so. There won't be any judgment at all in this comment section, and if there is, I will be removing it real quick, don't worry about that. I have the power here. And I'm just doing a walkthrough following the Yellow Brick Road and the beautiful colourful lights around the underwater pathway. Now you get to see the Asian Small-Clawed Otters swim around the habitat as well. I will be focusing more on those in the next episode when we do the over or like ground area on top of the water and the education side next week. And if you have any ideas for that, let me know in the comments. And I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, smash that like button, and if you haven't already and you would like to, it would mean a lot to me if you could subscribe and hit the bell to be notified whenever I upload a new video. I upload speed builds on Wednesdays and shorts tutorials on Saturdays. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!